Everyone, this is Annette McGloin, publisher of Life in the Flats in Winchester. I'm here today with Dave Tasto from Assisting Hands. We're spending time together for a brief interview. Dave, thank you for your partnership with Life in the Flats and for joining us today.
Thank you, Annette. I'm honored to be your guest, and I'm very happy working with you and a proud sponsor of Life in the Flats.
Thank you. Can you tell me a little about your story and how you got into healthcare?
Yes, thank you. A few years back, my grandmother was diagnosed with dementia, and she, because of the disease, she moved in with my mom and stepdad. And as the disease progressed, it became harder and harder to care for her at home. So eventually, she moved into an assisted living community. Eventually into the memory area, and towards the end, she required hospice care. But with the hospice benefit, she was able to get extra support in the morning for daily routines and so forth. And my mom was quite impressed with the help that she received, and even called me, a couple times to say how the compassion, the consideration, how they were so caring, in those last few weeks with my grandmother, just really, blew her mind. And I was back here in Boston working in consumer products, in the Boston area doing engineering. I was a degreed engineer, moved through a few different industries, but got me thinking when my mom was mentioning about these amazing caregivers that are helping my grandmother. And it even, one time my mom even mentioned that if she had known help like that existed, she could have kept her mom at home longer. And that really kind of, my grandmother couldn't be the only one in that kind of a situation. But I actually had a chance, though, to meet the caregivers that cared for my grandmother during that hospice period. I went back out to Minnesota and met them at her funeral. Not did they care so much just to come to her funeral, but they shared stories on how they were able to keep her smiling by just doing her nails, doing her hair. And one of the aides even had another grandmother who had dementia, her grandmother who had dementia, and they would trade blouses with my grandmother. And my grandmother was so happy she had her new favorite blouse. And these caregivers didn't have to do any of this in those final few weeks for my grandmother, but they cared. Despite the disease, or in spite of the disease, they still looked at her and considered her, somebody's mom, somebody's grandmother, and to my kids, even somebody's great grandmother. They just went the extra mile. They blew me away. I came back touched from Minnesota, and on the plane, I thought about how I could make a bigger difference with my background, skills, or experience in impacting people's lives directly. So I researched various businesses and settled on home care, as it really kind of, struck a chord with me and how we'd be able to directly impact people's lives, but also provide others with that same level of care that my grandmother received. So that's what we're about right now, doing that same thing that for others.
That's great. That's an amazing story. What differentiates your business and the services you provide from others in the industry?
I would say at a high level, we hire the best caregivers in the Boston area. We have controls in place to ensure our quality of care, and we embrace technology to provide real-time updates to family members. Communication is so important in our industry. Our caregivers are the heart of the business. We go to extraordinary lengths to ensure that the individuals we match with our clients are folks I would trust caring for my own parents. All of our caregivers are certified nursing assistants or certified home health aides, and they each have to pass a 104-point competency exam, have their clinical skills evaluated by our nurse, and be cleared through a national criminal or background check, as well as a driving record check. In New England, our states are so close, we need to make sure that, there's no issues in any other nearby states even. So those are national checks, right? But having the basic credentials isn't enough. We ask our applicants why they got into the field. Each of our caregivers truly have a heart to care for others. As far as the controls, our nurse regularly checks on our clients to ensure that our team is providing or adhering to the individualized plan of care, and just checks in with our clients regularly to see if there's any changes needed. As the owner, I'm involved in the day-to-day of the business and personally checking on our clients, our team, our families, how they're doing. As far as the technology, our operational software integrates with a mobile app on our caregivers' phones. This means we're able to verify remotely when our caregivers arrive at the home, because it ties into the smartphone, into the GPS of the smartphone. Providing real-time updates to families, as I mentioned, is so critical. All of our caregivers are trained to record their care notes directly into the app. These notes then are provided directly to the family through our secure online family portal, and it gives them the peace of mind knowing how progress is being made each day and how their loved one is doing.
That's great. I love how you use technology to keep the families updated. That's wonderful. What do you enjoy most about what you do?
As I said, I'm very excited about directly impacting people's lives. I love hearing the stories from clients that they enjoy the time with their caregivers and want them back every day. In addition, though, we've retained a third-party firm who gathers feedback from our clients and caregivers each month. We use that feedback to constantly improve what we do, but the firm also uses that data to compare us to other firms in the Boston area. And proud to say that we've been awarded a provider of choice in the Boston area. I believe, though, it's because we were also awarded an employer of choice that our caregivers are able to provide the best care. They are happy to go to extra lengths for our clients as we are taking great care of them. So it starts with happy caregivers who create happy clients, right? Owning an award-winning business brings me a lot of pride, but it's truly the smiles that we bring to our clients that energizes me in providing the same experience to our clients that my grandmother received.
Great. Congratulations on all of those awards, and thank you. That's great. How has COVID-19 impacted you and your business? Do you have any advice for potential clients during this time?
As far as how it impacted our business, fortunately, home care is an essential business. Because of such, we've been able to continue operating and caring for folks during this challenging time. Although we did see for a little while just some anxiety because of the virus earlier this spring, and family members did take over some care. But now we're at the point where we're getting more calls for respite care. Respite care really provides a break for family caregivers, allowing them some time from the mental and physical effort, required to care for a loved one. Respite care can be short. It can be, it can also be up to like around the clock for a week or two. Depends on what is needed. We also have clients that we're providing respite care for like 2 to 3 days a week on an ongoing basis. So basically, it's just a break for the primary caregiver. Okay. We're also supporting clients in engaging in great conversations or activities for those that don't have loved ones nearby, or for those family members who aren't able to visit as much as they would like, particularly in some assisted living communities where family had visitation restrictions. Our trained, certified, caregivers were still able to continue providing care, though, even during those times of those restrictions. But I think personally, and I don't know how much I have advice on the personal side, but basically personally, I'm probably not alone as a parent who helped educate their children at home this spring. Balancing our kids' needs for education and social interaction definitely was a challenge. But we're looking forward to a better experience this fall, and are working on plans to help with that.
Great, thank you. What do you do for fun when you're not working?
Well, as I mentioned, I have kids, a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old. They keep me on my toes, playing games, hiking, swimming. I really like sailing, though. There's something about sailing that when you are able to turn off the engine and just let the wind take you. I think I gain 10 years back in my life expectancy every time that happens.
Dave, so where can our viewers find you?
Well, we're located in Bedford, Mass. We serve the area north and west of Boston, though. The best thing to do is just give us a call, 781-315-6700. We're also on Facebook at AH Boston NW and have a website, assistinghands.com/Boston NW.
Great. Dave, thank you for your time, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. My pleasure.